Ladies and gentlemen, YouTube and Twitch, it's been a while. I haven't seen you in a minute. I haven't uploaded in a while. I've been lazy. I've lacked motivation, but we're back with another review of the newest patch notes for Age of Empires 4. These are release notes from today on the PUP server. You can go check it out right now. They've added a player color picker. Amazing. You can choose what color you are when you're playing the game. Let me make my camera just a little bigger here. Amazing. Feels good. I'm going to increase the size of this a little bit. Bam. There we go. A little bit more readable. So they've fully added customizable hotkeys to the game finally. You can fully remap absolutely everything. They changed how hotkey conflicts work, which is nice because there was some problems happening with like hotkeys being mapped same thing. We now have a map veto system, a test map veto system. I don't know how this actually works yet, but it's nice that they're finally adding it. There's a new map, the Pit. You're going to have access to all of the single player missions at all times. Amazing. A new camera option, panoramic. I assume this is going to mean you're going to be able to see more of the screen at once, which is pretty cool. Here's known issues. Landmark victories require destroying the landmark of players who have crashed, surrendered, or quit. So this is a bug, apparently. So after people leave, you need to kill their landmarks still to win the game, which is silly. I think they're going to be... This is an exploit with the new adjustments to landmark victory conditions, and will it be addressed? So they're getting rid of that. They're fixing issues with spawns when on 1v1 Black Forest, but they removed Black Forest from the rank ladder pool, so it doesn't matter that much. They're fixing a bug with the Abbasid and Rus's mounted archers attack animation that makes them mess up when they're chasing, so they would be in the middle of an attack animation while chasing an enemy, and if the enemy moved out of range, it would mess up the attack animation. They wouldn't shoot, so they're fixing that. Soul? What is Soul? Soul. Which Civ is this? Elite Archers technology has longer research time. Oh, the Deli. Okay. So it takes longer to research Elite Archers than it was supposed to. They're going to try and fix that. Monasteries incorrectly set to military building hotkeys. Awesome. You're not going to select your monasteries when you're selecting your production structures anymore. These are kind of silly. It doesn't matter. Ming Dynasty notification every time you produce a unit. This was incredibly annoying. I'm glad they're fixing that. Spirit Way enhancement information missing from affected units' UIs. Chinese Spirit's Way's landmark now provides an enhancement to units that are near another unit when they die. This is a weird change. We'll get into that when we get there. Shortcuts and remappable hotkeys. Oh, these quality of life changes here. These are all like the same change. It's basically making it so that unique buildings like the council hall, the clockwork, or the clock tower landmark, when you press the hotkey that selects all of a siege workshop, it will also include the clock tower. When you press the hotkey that selects all of your archery ranges, it will select all your council. It will also select your council halls. So this is just like quality of life stuff, right? And then all of the unique keeps are getting added to the keep shortcut. Very nice, very nice. The hunting cabins are getting merged with the mills. Select all barracks. This will no longer select docks. This is nice quality of life stuff. These were like really annoying things to deal with. So this is really nice that they're fixing this stuff. This is stuff that you shouldn't even notice getting changed. Event queue. Oh, this is something they're doing specifically to combat the annoyingness of multiple pings on your minimap when you're getting attacked, right? So imagine you're getting tower rushed. There's 3 different tower rushes. There's 3 different towers shooting at different spots in your base, and you just have like red pings on your minimap constantly. This is going to make this not happen so much. There's a 15-second timer on pings on the map, or 0 to 15, so it looks like it's like back in it's like a variable sort of thing. So this is a really nice change. Here we're getting into the big changes, right? They're making huge changes to siege, right? We wanted to add more strategic consideration to army positioning around siege weapons while increasing the realism in the interaction between siege and non-siege units. To accomplish this, we've made all units except villagers use their normal weapons versus siege units instead of their torches. So the bonus damage from torches that melee units used to have is getting changed and reworked entirely. To get the balance correct on this feature, we've done a large rebalancing patch to reduce the health of siege weapons and make some units like horsemen remain strong counters by giving them melee attack bonus damage versus siege weapons. So I'm going to just say, overall, this is a huge nerf to siege, okay? So they've nerfed siege in the last big patch. They made huge nerfs to siege in the last big patch. All of these changes are just huge nerfs to siege units. Me personally, I don't like these humongous nerfs they're making to siege units because, number one, siege units are incredibly expensive. Every one of the siege units costs a ridiculous amount of resources to make. Like a ram, 300 wood for a unit with 420 HP. Haha, 420, blaze it. This is huge nerfs. Thank you so much for the resub. Horseman melee weapons gain plus 10 damage bonus to siege. Yeah. This is like humongous nerfs to the siege. I love you, buddy. Thank you so much for the resub. I hope you've been good. This is coming soon. This is on the balance update server. So this is not live right now, but you can go play all of these changes right now. Villagers keep having their siege, and they're going to have plus 2 damage versus siege. So they're increasing the damage that villagers do versus siege. And they're also nerfing the crap out of rams, right? So villagers getting pulled to kill a ram, going to kill a ram way faster. Other torches no longer deal their bonus damage versus siege. They're nerfing the amount of healing that villagers do to siege units. So the situation where you have 8 villagers run up to a siege unit and start repairing it while it's getting killed, that's not going to happen anymore. Number one, because every siege unit's max HP has been significantly reduced. So you're going to need much less damage to one-shot a siege unit. But also because this huge nerf to the healing rate of siege units, right? Going from 20 HP per second to 5 HP per second, this is a huge nerf. Range armor increased, so ranged units are going to be weaker versus siege units, but melee units are going to be significantly stronger versus siege units. Bombards and cannons now have 30 armor, so this is a buff versus ranged units. They're buffing the Imperial Age upgrade Siege Works. It's going to give 10 armor instead of 3. That's actually a huge buff to this upgrade. The Mongol improved version is from 4 armor to 15, so that's actually a huge buff. Reduced the height of trebuchet and defensive cannon projectile trajectories to make them easy to reach. Okay, so this is a change that's directly targeted at English trebuchets, because English trebuchets get the scatter shot, which causes them to do more AoE damage. You're going to be able to see the projectile coming now and hopefully be able to try and dodge it. Ram's health reduced significantly. Mangonels health reduced significantly. Ranged armor increased significantly. So ranged units are going to be even worse versus siege units, and melee units are going to be even better versus siege units, which was already the case, right? Like, melee units were already the thing you used to kill, like, all siege units, right? You were either using your siege units to kill your enemy's siege units, or you were using your melee units, like horsemen or mass scouts or something. Springald health reduced by 75, armor increased by 12, bonus damage reduced from 90 to 50. Well, okay, so this is only their ranged armor, right? So I'm not certain if siege units have any armor versus melee units. I don't know if siege units have any armor versus melee units. I need to actually look at that. So overall, this is a huge nerf to all siege units. Clock Tower Springald, health reduced. Springald bonus damage reduced. So I'm assuming that Springald versus Springald fights are going to be exactly the same because they're changing the bonus damage as well as the HP, right? I'm pretty sure it's going to be like the same interaction. Ribaldaquin's health reduced. Fire armor reduced. So just it doesn't matter because like nothing's doing fire damage to these units anymore besides workers. Melee armor increased from 0 to 10. Okay. Melee armor increased from 0 to 10. Culverin health reduced. So like overall, this is just every siege unit is receiving the same treatment. They're all getting a huge health reduction. They're all receiving damage reductions for the long range. So the Bombard and the Springald are receiving damage reductions. The Culverin is staying the same, just a health reduction. The bonus damage versus siege is getting reduced significantly. So Culverins probably won't one-shot Bombards, but they will still one-shot Springalds and Mangonels and Nest of Bees, I believe. These are huge nerfs. These are huge nerfs to siege. And I think that siege was already very weak. So these nerfs are huge, right? I don't think I need to read through the rest of these. The Nest of Bees has been nerfed as well. Ranged units are just going to absolutely not be able to kill siege units unless you have like such a humongous number of them. Village and economy changes. I just want to say once again, this is like too much, right? Like they're nerfing siege out of the game. They're just nerfing siege out of the game. Like imagine your Mangonel, right? It has 240 HP. The thing, these nerfs should coincide with a reduce in the cost of the units. Like Rams should cost 200 wood instead of 300 wood. Mangonels should cost 300 wood and 200 gold instead of 400 wood and 300 gold. Springald should cost like 150 wood and 75 gold instead of 300 wood and 200 gold. Like just reduce the cost of every siege unit because you're making them so much worse. Keep the supply cost the same, but reduce the cost of the units. That would be nice to like coincide with these humongous nerfs because these are humongous nerfs. Even if they're removing the bonus damage versus these are still humongous nerfs. Deer and sheep, which are blocking a building foundation, now move out of the area much, much, much faster. This is very good. Deer and sheep move really slowly. You try to place a building on top of them, and they slowly mosey their way out of the way. Now they move out really fast. Amazing. Trade ships no longer return gold. Instead, they give the same amount of gold that they would in wood. This is amazing. There's not a lot of water maps to take advantage of this on, but in team games and on Boulder Bay, this is nice. Your trade ships bring you wood instead of extra gold so that you can not have to buy wood eventually. Shorefish and river fish occupy a smaller impasse, reducing the likelihood of stomping them. So they're reducing the hitbox of fish so that you can place docks more efficiently and not destroy your fish by placing your docks. Villagers will now prefer deer over berry bushes after building a new mill or gur. Okay, this is a nice change because if you built a mill next to a deer camp and a berry camp, your workers would always go for the berries. Now they will always go for the deer. This is a really nice quality of life change. I like it a lot. Reduce the travel distance. The villagers will scan for new resources after exhausting it. So, okay, this is another really nice quality of life change. Imagine your gold vein runs out of gold. Your workers, they just all derp out and they walk to the next closest thing of gold instead of sitting there and becoming idle. So you don't know that your gold has run out if you're not paying perfect attention to it. And now your villagers have a 30-second walk time to their drop-off, which is terrible. Buildings. Units will be able to attack stone wall gates, which are under construction, just like stone walls. So this is just like a standardization of behavior as they're putting it. So you can attack a stone wall gate while it's building with infantry units. Building emplacement bonus damage versus boats now applies to demolitions, ships, and so towers were not applying their bonus damage versus boats to fishing boats. So this is a pretty nice buff to towers versus enemy players who are going for a dock very early in the game. Arrow slit emplacements, bonus range decreased from +2 to +1. This is a big nerf to tower rushing. This is actually like a pretty big direct nerf to tower rushing. Because the main strength of tower rushes was building your tower outside of the range of a resource that your opponent has. And then you get the arrow slit or the hand cannon upgrade, and then the range bonus denies the resource from being able to be mined. So this is a good nerf. Everybody kind of universally agreed that towers were too strong. They're nerfing the spring-ald emplacement. They're reducing the damage of it. They're reducing the attack speed of it. This is a pretty big nerf, actually. So I actually like this a lot. Spamming bajillion towers everywhere was not a good look, and it was very uninteractive gameplay. The cannon emplacement, they're reducing the damage of this. This one is a less severe nerf than the spring-ald one and the arrow. This is just like a little bit of a damage decrease. I like this because the cannon emplacement is very expensive, and you're putting it onto a building which can't move, that can get two-shot by a bombard. So I like it that the cannon emplacement is going to stay the same level of effectiveness. This is going to be the same for keeps, I would assume, as well. This is going to be the same for keep emplacements as well. So spring-alds and cannons on keeps are going to be nerfed as well. Buildings that cost exclusively stone now cost stone to repair instead of wood. This is a huge nerf to keeps specifically. This is actually a humongous nerf to keeps, because we've seen a lot of games where people have a keep and they have 12 workers repairing that keep, and then they have 35 workers on wood, and they can just indefinitely repair that keep. So this is a huge nerf to stalling a game by repairing a keep and any stone wall location, essentially. That's a huge nerf, actually. So this is like indirectly buffing trebuchets a lot, and I think that specifically English trebuchets are incredibly powerful right now, and probably didn't need another thing working in their favor. They're adding a relic limit to all monasteries and landmarks. I think this is an okay change. I don't really know why specifically they needed to nerf monasteries, but whatever, I guess. You got to build an extra monastery if you get more than three relics. Excuse me. Keep landmarks now correctly activate a new weapon for each of their garrison slots. Oh, so keep landmarks were broken, and they were not getting an extra weapon for every unit that was getting garrisoned in them. Okay, so that's like an indirect buff that was a bug fix. All town centers now correctly activate a new weapon for each of their garrisons. Oh, town centers were glitched too. I didn't even notice this. So this will probably make people who play a second town center style stronger. I'm not sure how often this bug was affecting things. Food deposit buildings can now be placed closer to fish resources in shallow water. Nice. Might have like an incentive on river maps to just send all your workers to the fish at the start of the game. Stone wall health when construction begins reduced from 10% to 1%. So if you have units standing right next to a stone wall when it tries to get built, you'll be able to kill it very quickly now. Units with activated abilities will now be able to activate their ability from within a mixed multi-selection. I don't know what this means. Normalize all naval units to have the same target priority. So now naval units will no longer prefer hitting buildings when there are enemy boats in their range. Nice. That's a nice quality of life change, because boat AI logic was really dumb. They would shoot at whatever was closest to them instead of like an enemy unit. Spearmen perform the spear wall animation faster and do not trigger their spear wall until charging cavalry is closer. Oh, this is huge. This is a huge change. This makes spearmen significantly better than knight. Significantly better versus knights. This reduces the instances where spearmen would spear wall behind friendly troops. Nice. Amazing. Makes them feel more responsive and gives you more time to move your units as they spend less time in the spear wall animation. Nice. Grenader. Nerfed. Man, they hate China. The developers just hate China, dude. Weapon range decreased from 4 to 3. You know what? This is on top of the other nerf that makes it so that only the gunpowder upgrade for China that increased the range of all your gunpowder units is also getting nerfed. It only affects gunners. So now you cannot increase the range of your grenaders. And they're nerfing the range of grenaders. This is brutal. This is a brutal nerf to one of the most expensive things in the game. I don't know, man. I don't know. Whatever. I don't ever build them because my games never go that long. Horseman armor scaling increased. This is nice. This is going to make horseman armor scale into the late game. That's a pretty big buff, actually. That's a pretty big buff. Imperial Age horsemen are going to have 4, 5, 6, 7 armor versus range. That's pretty fat. Monk train time reduced. This is a small buff to every civilization that doesn't automatically get access to monks in Castle Age. So the Rus automatically get access to monks in Castle Age, and Holy Roman and Deli automatically have access to monks in Castle Age. Well, they have them in Feudal Age, but they will have them in Castle Age to pick up. This just reduces the time it takes for people who have to make a monastery to get monks to actively start using their monks, which is kind of nice. It's only like 15 seconds, so no big deal. Fixed an issue where units attack moving wouldn't prioritize defensive landmarks. Oh, you know what? This is something I noticed. I kind of don't like this. So if you're attacking a Chinese player and his barbecue of the sun is sitting in front of you and he has all of his units prioritized around it, does this mean that if you attack move towards it, your units are going to attack the landmark instead of the units around the landmark? That would be terrible. That would be terrible. We'll have to see how that works in the actual game. Transport ship help text updated to highlight that the ship will use the line of sight of units inside its garrison. Okay. Landmark victory condition in team games updated so that the players will only be eliminated when all allied landmarks are destroyed. Oh, so if you get all of your landmarks destroyed, you stay in the game until your allies get killed too. Knocked out of team games when they still had plenty of units and buildings remaining. Change allows for more comeback potential and keeps everyone in the game and having fun the whole time. Okay. I don't hate it. I don't play team games that much. If anybody who's a team game player has a comment on that, leave it in the comments below. Slowed down the projectile speed of cannons, culverins, and hand cannon slits so that the projectiles can be seen with the human eye. This was kind of something where if somebody was sniping your siege units with a culverin, you just couldn't see where it was coming from unless you directly saw the culverin. So this is a nice quality of life change that will let you identify where the culverin is at when it shoots at you. Herbal medicine technology cost reduced and research time reduced. This is like a buff to herbal medicine. Maybe they want more than just the Deli player to use herbal medicine. I'm not sure about this. It's difficult to include monks in your army. Deli Sultanate version research time increased. Good. Heck the Deli Sultanate. I don't like the Deli Sultanate. Siege engineering technology research time reduced from 60 to 45 seconds. This is so you can make rams with your infantry. As the path to utilize this technology is long in the early game, in some cases the window of opportunity is closed before rams could be utilized. We sped up this touch to give more aggressive options early on. Oh, this is nice. They've nerfed rams a lot, so being able to build them 15 seconds faster will be nice. Professional scouts can now drop carcass command before holding a carcass. Oh, this is a nice quality of life change. You can tell your scouts to go pick up a deer carcass and then give them the drop carcass command and then not have to interact with them until they've dropped the carcass. That's actually a really nice quality of life change. Fixed an issue where units attack using attack move wouldn't prioritize defensive landmarks. They stated this twice. Now, finally, the civilization-specific changes. If you've made it this far in the video, please leave a comment in the comment section. Hit us with the thumbs up button on the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Abbasid, their mill is getting buffed so that they can reach the Golden Age easier. So the aura around buildings that allows Abbasid to connect so that they can get the Golden Age is going to be increased in size on the mill, because a lot of the time they build the mill on the berries and it's too far away to be connected to the aura without building a house in between. That's a nice change. Camel barding has been renamed to Camel Rider barding. This is the kind of stuff that I think they just don't even need to let us know about. They're just changing the name of an upgrade to like make more sense, right? Like they don't need to let us know about stuff like that. Spice Roads technology now correctly increases trade ship gold income by 30%. This just doesn't matter. In 1v1s, we don't have any maps where we can do trading with water, you know? We just don't have any maps with water trading. Traders and trade ships will now correctly return 25% of a secondary resource after researching the Grand Bazaar. So they were bugged and they weren't doing that. You can't get trading established in a game of 1v1 unless you just have like complete control of like the entire middle area of the map. So I think changes to trade are silly because they just have no impact on the 1v1. Preservation of knowledge technology no longer applies twice to text researched in the House of Wisdom. Wow, okay. So the reduction in costs to researches was bugged, and it was applying twice to text researched in the House of Wisdom. That's a huge. That's huge. Getting 60% reduction on the cost of your House of Wisdom text was pretty fat. Field constructed mangonels and springalds now have the correct hotkeys in the construction menu. Nice quality of life change. Camel archers can now be selected with the select military hotkeys. Oh, so it was bugged and it wouldn't select your camel archers if you used the select all military units. Incendiary arrows. Visual is no longer lost when composite bows is upgraded. Whatever. This is small changes. These are small changes to Abbasid. This makes me feel like they think Abbasid is in a pretty good position right now because they're not making any specific changes to help Abbasid in like a specific matchup or a specific position of the game. So they probably think Abbasid is like generally balanced and fine, which I would agree with. I think Abbasid is probably the most balanced civilization in the game. They don't have any, camel archers are very powerful, but I don't think it's bad that they have a very powerful, unique unit like the camel archer. So I think Abbasid's in a good spot. Fire Lancer move speed increased from 6 to 6.5. It's a nice buff to the Fire Lancer. Fire Lancer has been in a bad spot for a really long time since they nerfed it. I don't think I've seen a single Fire Lancer in any game so long that it's hilarious, to be honest. We've got more plans for the Fire Lancer in the future. This is an easy win to help it fit into its intended raiding role. So, I don't know. Fire Lancers are bad. They're going to have to do a lot of work to make Fire Lancers not bad. The time between attacks has been reduced from 1.75 to 1.62. We made some back-end changes to attack speeds, which resulted in some units attacking slightly slower. This change helps set the unit back to its original strength. So there was like a change that they're not telling us about to attack speeds that was making all units attack slower. That's unfortunate. So this is just like putting it at where it's supposed to be. Pyrotechnics. The 20% bonus range increase to gunpowder units will now only affect hand cannoneers instead of gunpowder units. This is a humongous nerf. This is a humongous nerf. Pyrotechnics was quite possibly the strongest thing that China had. I think pyrotechnics was the whole reason you played China. To be perfectly real, this upgrade was why you played China. You could get gunpowder units that had 20% bonus range, right? And now it only affects hand cannoneers. And it's not 20% anymore, it's 1.5 tiles. So it affects hand cannoneers more now, so it's a bigger buff to hand cannoneers. But now it doesn't affect your bombards, it doesn't affect your nest of bees. And it doesn't affect your grenaders, which are getting nerfed. So this is a humongous nerf overall. But they're reducing the cost of it from 1,000 resources to 500. So, creating super units like the Clock Tower Bombard that is too good in too many roles. Focusing pyrotechnics to just hand cannoneers allows it to stand out more from other hand cannoneers and lets us buff some of the other unique gunpowder technologies like reload drills. Oh, cool. We get a buff to reload drills, but now our unit, it has 2 less range, so it's never going to get to shoot in the first place. This is the kind of change that makes me feel like they are completely and totally out of touch with how the game actually gets played. I'm going to just gloss over this because this is just overall a gigantic nerf to China. The Nest of Bees and all Clock Tower siege units are included in the melee versus siege rework. So yes, they're on top of pyrotechnics not helping your siege units anymore. They've also nerfed the shit out of siege units. All of them. The granary now costs 150 wood instead of 250 wood. This is nice. This is a nice bone. They're throwing us a bone. They're like, we're kind of nerfing everything about China. Let's make it so that your granary costs 100 less wood. Amazing. Oh, and look at more bones. They're throwing us more bones. The Barbican of the Sun. You can put springalds on it and cannon emplacements, which are nerfed. Oh, man, dude. They hate China. I don't know why they hate China so much, man. This is a nice change, though. Your Barbican of the Sun is going to be able to get a springald in cannon in Castle Age. It's going to be able to cannon in Imperial Age. It's a nice change. This is something I was pretty vocal about. Like, why doesn't the Barbican of the Sun have arrow slits, springald, and cannon placement? Like, why doesn't it have those things? It doesn't make any sense, right? The Great Wall Gatehouse landmark changes. Okay, so they're changing the Imperial Age landmarks for China. No longer provides damage bonuses to units around the landmark. No longer provides bonus health to stone walls and gates. It now comes with a Nest of Bees emplacement that fires a burst of 16 arrows. Okay. So the Great Wall Gatehouse went from being really bad to being a really budget, shitty version of a keep that costs 3 times as much. Now provides all units on your stone walls with a 25% range damage. Wait, is this just all stone walls? Or is it like an aura around the Great Wall? This kind of makes me feel like all of your stone walls will provide a 25% damage bonus. That's pretty huge. That took too long to get. We're refocused the gameplay around making the placement of the building impactful and encouraging combat on and around walls. Okay. I like it. Making the Great Wall different is great because the bonuses that it currently had, horrible, useless, right? The bonuses that the Great Wall had before this change, useless. Absolutely useless. Nobody ever made this land, ever. Unless you're trying to get grenaders. And now you're never going to try and get grenaders because they've been nerfed into oblivion. Spirit Way landmark changes. The Spirit Way landmark no longer reduces the cost of dynasty units in stables and archery ranges. It now houses dynasty technologies, which can be researched for 50% less cost and 100% extra research speed. So what are the dynasty upgrades? Like the Zug Nu upgrade, the Fire Lancer upgrade, and what are those? Are like the only dynasty upgrades, right? What are the other dynasty upgrades? I can't even remember. what like specific upgrades are unlocked because of the dynasties. I guess that's okay. When a dynasty unit dies, nearby units will receive 20% attack speed and plus 20 health over 10 seconds. Wait, is this just any dynasty unit? So this is like a global aura. If a dynasty unit dies, all other units nearby it get 20% attack speed. That's actually badass. If that's actually like a global aura, that's huge. This is like the English have their aura, which gives 25% attack speed. But this heals you a little bit too. That's huge. That's huge. I like that a lot. Okay. We wanted the landmark to add more adaptive and dynamic elements to China game plan. Previously, you committed to one building type around the Spirit Way and were locked into these units. Now you can mix in different forces based on your current dynasty and combat. All right. I don't like. That's cool. I like it. These are really big changes to these landmarks, and I think these landmarks really needed big changes because China, now that they've nerfed pyrotechnics, right? What's the point of going Imperial Age as China? You actually don't have like a big strength timing attack to hit. Like so think about it like this, right? Like France gets Feudal Age and it unlocks the Royal Knight, which is a huge power spike, right? That's like one of France's biggest power spikes in the entire game is unlocking the Royal Knight. And it happens in Feudal Age at like 5 minutes into the game. That's huge, right? China doesn't have any super huge power spikes that they unlock in this game. They're kind of like linear in their power progression, except in Imperial Age. You would get Imperial Age, and your biggest power spike of the entire game was unlocking pyrotechnic. That's not true anymore. So they're making the Imperial landmarks be more impactful, which is great. If that's a super good feeling. I hope that they make more changes. That I want to play on the pup, but it's kind of difficult because there's not a lot of competition to go around. Like there's not a lot of competition on the pup. The Deli Sultanate Imperial tech timer has been reduced from 15 to 12 times. This is nice. Deli Sultanate was unable to play in Imperial Age. That's nice. So overall, the changes to China, the pyrotechnics nerf is really huge, but they're making a bunch of buffs to everything else, right? Fire Lancer's getting buffed. The Barbican's getting an emplacement. Super nice. The Imperial landmarks are getting pretty big buffs, realistically speaking. So I like those changes a lot. When toggling the Palace of the Sultan's landmark automatic elephant production off, elephants in the queue will now be correctly canceled. Okay, quality of life change. Cancel the automatic production. It cancels the elephant that's currently building. Technology research time adjustments. Boiling oil takes longer to research. All-seeing eye takes longer to research. I'm not sure which one is this. I don't play the Deli that much, so I don't remember what these upgrades do. But this is overall, they're just nerfing the research time. Professional scouts takes longer to research. Survival techniques takes less time to research. Herbal medicine takes longer to research. This is like nerfs to the Deli. I think they're the number one civilization. France is the number one civilization because they have the most good matchups. But I think Deli overall is better if they get to do what they want to do. This Hussar Academy landmark no longer generates food while under construction. Oh, what a bug, right? What a bug. They just were getting food while the building was in construction. The textiles technology now increases food produced by the Hussar Academy. Okay. Tower Elephant ranged units are now properly affected by all damage upgrades. So the tower elephants weren't getting properly affected by ranged upgrades. I feel like they were already so good. This is going to make them better. Amazing. Buffs to elephants. Buff the elephants. The best unit in the game? Buff it. Dome of Faith landmark changes. Yeah, and you know what? The best unit in the game, the elephant, they nerfed its natural predator, which is siege units. They nerfed every siege unit, so now elephants are probably going to be even better. Because you don't use, like, infantry or knights to kill an elephant. That's not happening. They just have a bunch of monks healing the elephant. You never kill the elephant, right? So siege units are what realistically you would use to kill elephants. Nothing else really efficiently killed them. So that's crazy that they're going to be even better. Overall, these are some nerfs to specific technologies, but then buffs to the Imperial Age technologies for Deli to give them an option to maybe go for Imperial. It's still going to take an absurd amount of time to get those Imperial Age researches for Deli. English naval civilization bonus and unique technology swapped. Don't know what the English naval civilization bonus was. Shipwrights renamed to Admiralty. Admiralty now provides +1 range to all English combat ships. English now has a global discount to naval units of 10%. Oh, another part of the pyrotechnics nerf is that now the Bauchuan won't get bonus range from pyrotechnics. So that probably makes English have the longest range ship in the game. They have a global discount to all naval units of 10%. All right, whatever. Nobody this is just for team games, right? Like, changes to ships is for team games because there's no water maps in the 1v1 rotation. The Ringard Palace has 2 new production options. Oh. It can spawn an army of 3 knights and 3 horsemen, or it can spawn an army of 3 hand cannoneers and 3 crossbows. Wow. That's a huge buff to the Ringard Palace. I know that the trebuchets for English were really good, but that's a huge buff. Wow, dude. 3 knights and 3 horsemen, or 3 hand cannoneers and 3 crossbows. That's huge, man. Wow. The Abbey of King's landmark radius has been increased significantly. Cool. We've been seeing De Muslim specifically using the Abbey of Kings as English to do horsemen and man-at-arm raids. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Buffing an underused building. So overall, this is some pretty big buffs for English. Amazing. Amazing. But nothing like too huge. This isn't huge. So just buffs, but nothing too huge. So they probably think English is in a pretty good spot. This is a lot, right? Like 3 knights is a lot. 3 hand cannoneers, that's a lot. That's a pretty big buff to that specific landmark. French, the Royal Institute discount has been increased 20% to 30%. Sweet. That's nice. French is the best civ in the game. Let's give them cheaper upgrades. PogChamp. The Red Palace default weapons have decreased from 3 to 2 arbalests. Okay, so they're nerfing the Red Palace a little bit. We want the main power of the Red Palace to come from adding units to activate its powerful garrison weapon. This allows for more counterplay if you can kill nearby villagers or attack it when the enemy army is on another part of the map. Okay. The Red Palace being slapped down in the front of your base was a pretty big win condition, so this is a pretty nice change to it. College of Artillery's Royal Siege units are included in the melee versus siege rework, so huge nerfs to everyone's siege. The Chamber of Commerce was giving no bonus to trade value. This has been a bug since the game came out. The Chamber of Commerce, the secondary feudal landmark for French, has been not working at all since the game came out. It's kind of insane to think that it took them 8 months to fix this. Congratulations. Hats off to Relic. They finally fixed it 8 months later. Sweet, dude. Not like anyone will ever make it instead of the cavalry landmark anyways. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Relic. French trade ship bonus changed from 20% gold to 20% all other resources on trade. Cool. Awesome. The Holy Roman Empire. The Regnitz Cathedral landmark provides plus 100% gold from all captured relics instead of 200%. This is all... So, this is actually exactly what I suggested should happen to the Regnitz Cathedral. So now relics only give 100% bonus gold. So 200 gold per minute instead of 300 gold per minute. And they're going to be able to hold 3 relics in the Regnitz Cathedral again. So I was saying that this should change because Holy Rome was able to get 2 relics and reach their full power spike from relics with only 2 relics. And it was almost impossible to deny an HRE player all 5 relics. So they were almost always getting 2 at the least. So this is a nice nerf that makes them need to get 3. They need to get 3 relics. This is really nice. This is effectively 2 relics is going to equal out to about 10 workers instead of 15 workers of extra gold income per minute. So this is really good. We want HRE to engage more frequently with their mechanic to garrison relics in defensive buildings to power them up. With the updated design, you no longer lose out on gold by having relics in keeps. Okay. Oh, it's 100% gold from all captured relics. Oh, so you build the Regnitz Cathedral, and then you don't even need to put the relics inside of it to get the bonus gold. This is a huge buff. I thought that this was a nerf, but this is a huge buff. You're going to get less gold over time from them, but it doesn't matter. You can just build towers next to every one of the relics on the map that's nearby you, and then you pick it up and instantly drop it in the tower next to it. That's huge. HRE prelates will also inspire units when they start healing. Okay. Cool. The Minework Palace landmark discount and research speed increased from 30 to 40%. Aachen Chapel landmark now accepts the drop-off of all resources? They made the Aachen Chapel better. Holy shit. This is a huge buff. Now you can build farms all around the Aachen Chapel. What the fuck? Fixed a gross bug where Dark and Feudal Age prelates were only healing 3.5 health per second instead of 7. So they're doubling the healing of HRE prelates. Holy crap, those are some huge buffs. HRE is about to be the best civilization in the game, dude. Holy crap. Mangudai, yeah, overall, this is huge. These are like huge buffs to HRE. Like, holy crap. Mangudai time between attacks reduced. This is just to make them actually have their intended attack speed. I assume that this backend change to attack speeds is also going to change the horse archers. So they should probably be, yep, right there. They're making a change to the horse archer because of the backend. So attack speed rates in this game have been broken since the game came out. I don't know how or why, but units were shooting faster than they were supposed to because of how reload speed interacts with the attack speed. The Traction Trebuchet unit and the improved Siege Workshop have been nerfed. Improved economy technologies. Bonus and improved economy technology. Okay, so the upgrades for horticulture, double-bladed broadaxe, and the mining one, I can't remember the name, the stone researches for Mongols are getting buffed. I think we barely ever saw these because the increase was insignificant. The Kurlatai aura has been increased from 4 to 7.5. The healing effect no longer requires the Khan to be present within its aura. This is a big buff. This is a big buff to the Imperial Age. This is the Castle Age landmark, actually. I mean, you're almost never going to choose this landmark over the Steppe Redoubt because of the bonus that the Steppe Redoubt provides of 50% bonus gold on drop-off is just too good to give up on. Mongols now have access to the geometry and de-geometry improved technology in the Siege Workshop. So geometry improves your trebuchets and rams. Apparently, they just didn't have access to that previously. Improved Tithe Barns now generates the correct amount of resources. Nice bug fix. Packed Pastures and Barracks now have the same health as their unpacked versions. They just said this twice. Now I have access to geometry in the Siege Workshops. Now I have access to these in the Siege Workshops. Horse Archers. So, overall, not much changing about Mongols. They probably feel like Mongols is in a fine position. These are very small changes. They're improving a landmark that is never utilized, essentially. So, is what it is. Very nice. The Rus. Horse Archer time between attack reduced significantly. So, they made the nerf to the Horse Archer's attack speed quite a while ago, and it was because it was shooting faster than intended. So I'm assuming that all of these attack speed changes to archer units isn't going to actually make a difference in how they attack because of this back-end change to attack speed. So they're just setting the unit back to its original strength. So they made a change to attack speeds across the board for ranged units, and then it caused them to need to adjust the attack speed of basically every ranged unit, it looks like. So this is not going to be like a buff to the Horse Archer. I think that this should, every unit that received this attack speed change should function exactly the same. The Spasskaya Tower landmark now unlocks the building of stone walls. Oh, PogChamp. So if you build the keep landmark for the Rus, they get stone walls. Wow. That's actually nice. It's going to be a hard choice. This makes so very few of the landmark decisions in the game are difficult decisions. It's like very obvious that one landmark is significantly better than the other landmark, right? So this makes your choice of Imperial landmark for the Rus difficult because high armory get cheaper siege units and you get the unique siege unit upgrades, but getting stone walls, that's a tough decision, man. That's a tough decision. The Kremlin landmark, influence range increased from 4 to 8 tiles. Big buff. Default weapon range increased. Wow. Garrison arrow range increased. Big. All right, so they're increasing the aura that gives extra wood by 4 tiles, and they're increasing the range of the weapons. I don't think we'll see this building instead of the Golden Gate ever. It doesn't matter what they do. They would need to nerf the Golden Gate to get people to build the Kremlin. They couldn't buff this building enough. Because if they buffed this building enough to make Rus players want to build it instead of the Golden Gate, it would just be really overpowered. High Trade House landmark changes. Fixed the aura indicator to represent the correct tree counting range. The area is now visually bigger, but this is now an accurate representation. Oh, okay. So we just didn't get to see what was actually in the range of it. Cool. That's a nice change to this.
I've seen quite a few high trade houses by Roost players. It's actually a really powerful landmark. The Lodya attack ship now retains their +8 damage versus incendiary ships after researching incendiary arrows. Oh, so they were losing their bonus damage versus incendiary ships after getting incendiary arrows. Lodya ships were scaled to different sizes. They are all normalized now. So, I'd say overall, these are good changes. I actually can't pinpoint a single change that I'm really unhappy with or that strikes me as just wrong. The pyrotechnics nerf, this is a really big nerf. Bombards and Nest of Bees. Rip, dude. Rip Bombards and Nest of Bees. It was a good run. Pretty huge nerf, but they're making it affect hand cannoneers better. The Grenader nerf, Rip Grenaders, they're super nerf. Overall, I give this like an 8 out of 10. I like it a lot. A lot of the overall changes are very good. These quality of life changes here, and the villager and economy changes. The building changes, the nerf to the tower emplacements, really nice. This is gonna hurt tower rushing a lot. People are gonna need to build their towers one space more close to where you're at, where they're trying to deny a resource. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. These nerfs to siege units, rip siege units, dude. That's all I can think. Rip siege units. Siege units, rip. F in the chat for all the siege units that are never going to get built ever again. Fixes to all your shortcuts. Yeah, man. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk on this Age of Empires balance update. When they do eventually release their next set of changes, because these are subject to change. These are their proposed changes, so they will be receiving feedback. So if you have feedback for them, please go sign up for the PUP. You get access to the balance update forum on Steam. They definitely pay attention to that stuff. Last time they had a PUP, they responded to all of the topics that I made. They didn't fix everything that I complained about, namely the camera drag bug, where you can't hold the shift button while using the camera drag button. And they haven't said anything about that now. I'm going to complain about that right now in the forums. But if you have any questions, comments, ideas, if you found anything in the balance update that you didn't like, anything you want changed, please leave your comments in the description of the video. Hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. This is a longer video. It is what it is. There's a lot of changes to go around. Have a wonderful evening. Good night. Peace.